Sometimes life follows a simple, predictable script, until suddenly something or someone completely changes the plot. This is the story of Derek, a 15-year-old high school student from Portland, Oregon, an ordinary kid with a simple routine. But he would experience one of the most intense and transformative moments of his young life. What if I told you that the greatest love story you never heard was about grand gestures or epic declarations? What if it was about a shy boy, a record store, and dozens of unopened packages hiding secrets that would shatter his world? Derek thought he had time. He thought there would always be another Friday, another chance, another smile across the counter. He was wrong. And by the time he discovered the truth hidden inside those CDs he never opened, it was already too late. This is a story about love found in silence, about words left unsaid, about a girl who waited ... and a boy who learned life's most devastating lesson. Tomorrow isn't promised, and the words you don't say today might become the tears you cry tomorrow. Are you ready? Because this story will break your heart and change the way you see every single day of your life. Portland, Oregon, a city known for its misty mornings, independent bookstores, and vibrant music scene. In the heart of the Hawthorne district, among vintage shops and coffee houses, there was a small record store that would become the center of an unforgettable story. Derek Morrison was 15 years old, an only child from a middle-class family living in southeast Portland. Every morning followed the same pattern: wake up, help with small chores around the house, have breakfast with his parents, and catch the bus to Franklin High School. After classes, he'd walk home the same route, almost always alone, listening to music on the old headphones he'd inherited from his father. It was a repeated routine, day after day. A quiet life in a quiet neighborhood. Nothing extraordinary. Nothing that would suggest his world was about to change forever. But on one particular afternoon in late September, everything shifted. A simple decision, just a small detour on the way home, would open a new chapter in his life. A chapter filled with joy, wonder, heartbreak, and a lesson that would haunt him for years to come. Before we continue, please comment below. What city and state are you watching this story from? I love knowing how far these stories reach. It was a Thursday afternoon when Derek's best friend, Jason, ran up to him as they left school. "Hey Derek, want to stop by that record store on Hawthorne? It's on the way home." Derek hesitated for a moment. Normally he went straight home, but that day he decided to accept maybe it was just a small change in routine. He had no idea that this small decision would open a new chapter in his life. The two friends walked together, talking and laughing, until they reached the record store, a charming little shop with a window display full of colorful album covers and posters of old and new bands. The moment Derek pushed open the glass door, a small bell chimed above ding-ding, and that's when he saw her. Behind the counter, with a gentle smile and bright eyes, stood Ingrid. She was 17, with light brown hair that fell in soft waves around her shoulders in a delicate, attentive manner. Derek ... was simply enchanted. His heart raced. Words disappeared. It was as if for an instant the entire world had gone silent. There was only her. Jason went straight to browse the records, but Derek stood there not knowing what to do, trying to look natural but completely mesmerized by her presence. Ingrid, noticing his shy gaze, opened an even warmer smile and said, "Hi there, can I help you find something special?" He stammered, embarrassed. "Oh, yeah, just." Looking around, She laughed softly, with that sweet laugh that seems to embrace the soul. And that was their first encounter. Simple, quick, but unforgettable for Derek. In the days that followed, he couldn't get Ingrid out of his mind. When he closed his eyes, he remembered her smile. When he was in class, he thought about the store. And when afternoon came, an irresistible urge to stop by again would wash over him. With the little money he could save from his lunch money or by helping out at home, Derek started buying CDs. Not because he was a great collector, but because it was the perfect excuse to see Ingrid. Every time he arrived at the store, his heart pounded. He rehearsed 1,000 phrases in his head, but in front of her he could only smile shyly and say few words. Even so, something beautiful was happening. Ingrid smiled back. She was charmed by his shyness, by that pure and genuine way that few people have, and gradually she began waiting for him. On days when Derek didn't show up, Ingrid felt his absence. She'd find herself looking at the door, as if expecting the little bell to ring at any moment. And when he did appear, her eyes would shine differently. The weeks turned into months. Derek went more and more frequently. He saved every penny carefully, just to be able to buy one more CD on Sia. Meanwhile, a silent and profound feeling grew between them. He, without the courage to confess his feelings. She, hiding in every glance the hope that he would take the first step. Derek was too shy. Every time he thought about asking her out, nervousness took over. His hands would sweat, words would jumble up, and he'd give up. Maybe another day, ... He'd think, and that another day always got pushed to later. But something remarkable was happening. Each visit became more meaningful. The conversations grew longer. Ingrid would recommend albums based on his mood. She'd tell him about her favorite songs. Sometimes, she'd play a new record over the store speakers just because she thought he'd like it. "This band is from Seattle," she'd say, her eyes lighting up. I think you'll love their sound. It's kind of melancholic but beautiful, you know. Derek would buy it without hesitation. Not because he knew the band, but because she'd chosen it for him. Each CD was a piece of her taste, her personality, a window into who she was. The other store employees began to notice. Maria, the older woman who worked part-time, would smile knowingly whenever Derek walked in. "Your favorite customer is here," she'd whisper to Ingrid, who would blush and pretend not to hear. But everyone could see it. The way Ingrid's whole face changed when Derek entered. The way she'd fix her hair quickly. The way her voice became softer, more careful, when speaking to him. Derek's parents noticed the change too. He'd come home with another CD, another paper bag with the store's logo. His collection grew rapidly, stacks of albums piling up in his closet. "Derek, you're spending a lot on music lately," his mother commented one evening at dinner. "I know, Mom, but there's this really great record store. They have amazing stuff." His father smiled. "A great record store, or someone great at the record store?" Derek's face turned red. "Dad." His parents laughed gently. They understood. First love has a way of showing itself, even when words remain unspoken. Meanwhile, at the store, Ingrid was fighting her own battle. She wanted to tell Derek how she felt, but what if he just saw her as a friendly store clerk? What if she scared him away? She'd write little notes during slow hours, personal messages, invitations carefully worded. Then she'd fold them up and slip them into the CD cases before sealing them. It was her secret way of reaching out, of saying what her voice couldn't say when he was standing right in front of her. Maybe he'll find them, she thought. Maybe he'll read them and finally know. October arrived, bringing Portland's famous autumn rain. The leaves turned brilliant shades of orange and gold. The air became crisp and cool, and Derek made a decision. He'd been going to the record store for 3 months now. 3 months of smiles and brief conversations. 3 months of unspoken feelings hanging in the air between them. It was time. On Friday, he would go to the store in his best clothes and finally ask Ingrid out after her shift ended. Derek spent the entire week anxious. He chose his outfit in advance: a light blue button-down shirt his aunt had given him for his birthday, dark jeans, and his clean white sneakers. He looked at himself in the mirror countless times, practiced smiles, phrases, even gestures. "Today it's going to work, ... he repeated to himself. Jason tried to help. "Dude, just be yourself. She already likes you, anyone can see that. But what if I mess it up? What if I say something stupid? Derek, you've been going there for months. She waits for you. She lights up when you walk in. Just ... ask her to grab coffee or something." It's not complicated, but for Derek, it felt monumentally complicated. His entire future happiness seemed to depend on this one moment, this one question. The pressure was enormous. Thursday night, he barely slept. He ran through scenarios in his mind, different ways to phrase the invitation, how he'd stand, whether he should lean against the counter casually or stand up straight. Every detail felt critical. Friday morning arrived. Derek could barely focus in his classes. His teachers' voices seemed to come from far away. His mind was already at the record store, playing out the scene he'd imagined hundreds of times. After school, he went straight home to change. His mother noticed his nervous energy. "Big plans today, honey?" Derek nodded, checking his reflection one more time. "Yeah, Mom, I'm going to ask someone out." His mother's face softened. "The girl from the record store. How did you? I'm your mother, I know." She walked over and adjusted his collar. "She'd be lucky to go out with you. You're a wonderful young man. Just be honest, be yourself." Derek hugged her. "Thanks, Mom." The sun was beginning to set as he left the house, painting the Portland sky in shades of orange and pink. The October air was cool but not cold. Perfect weather. A good sign, he thought. His heart was pounding like a drum as he walked down Hawthorne Avenue. He walked quickly, with a nervous smile on his face, imagining how the conversation would go. In his mind, Ingrid would smile, accept the invitation, and they'd begin a beautiful story together. He'd take her to that cafe she mentioned once. Or maybe they'd just walk through Laurelhurst Park while the autumn leaves fell around them. It didn't matter where they went. What mattered was that they'd finally be together, not separated by a counter, not hiding behind casual pleasantries about albums and artists. As he approached the familiar storefront, Derek took a deep breath. The neon open sign glowed in the window. Through the glass, he could see someone moving inside. His heart raced even faster. "This is it," he whispered to himself. No more waiting, no more maybe tomorrow. He reached for the door handle. The bell would ring. Ingrid would look up and smile, and his life would change forever. He had no idea how right he was about that last part. When Derek pushed open the door, the bell rang as always, ding-ding. But this time, there was no smile from Ingrid behind the counter. Instead, an older woman with gray hair and red-rimmed eyes stood there. Derek felt confusion wash over him. He looked around, expecting to see Ingrid emerging from a back room, but nothing. The store felt different, heavier somehow. He approached slowly and asked, politely, "Hi, my name is Derek. Could I speak with Ingrid?" The woman took a deep breath. Her eyes filled with tears. She looked directly into Derek's eyes and, with a voice thick with emotion, replied, "Hi, Derek, ... I'm Sophia, Ingrid's mother, ... and it's been 3 days since my baby girl passed away. She went to be with God. For an instant, Derek stood frozen. The words didn't make sense. The world seemed to spin in slow motion. A profound silence filled the space. He could only repeat mentally, "Passed away. No, ... it can't be. Not her, ... Sophia, with trembling hands, continued. Ingrid had a serious illness. We always knew she didn't have much time. The doctors told us months ago, but even so, she insisted on coming to work. You know why? Derek couldn't speak. He could barely breathe. Because she talked about you constantly, Derek. She said she felt happy when she saw you walk through that door, ... That your presence made her days lighter. Even when she was in pain, and there was a lot of pain these last few weeks, she came to work just to see you." Sophia reached under the counter and pulled out a small notebook. She kept this journal. She wrote about you almost every day. She opened to a random page and read aloud, her voice breaking. "Derek came in today. He bought that new indie album I recommended. He said he trusted my taste. I wanted so badly to tell him how I feel, but I'm scared. What if he doesn't feel the same? What if telling him makes things weird and he stops coming? These visits are the best part of my day, maybe the best part of my life. I don't want to lose them." Tears burned Derek's eyes. His chest tightened so much he thought his ribs might crack. Without words, he simply embraced Sophia, a silent hug, full of pain, disbelief, and love left unsaid. "She wanted you at the funeral," Sophia whispered into his shoulder. "She left instructions. But I didn't know how to find you. I only knew your first name and that you went to Franklin High. I was going to call the school on Monday, ... Derek pulled back, tears streaming down his face. "When, ... when did she, ... Tuesday night, peacefully, in her sleep. She'd been getting weaker, but even Monday, her last day at work, she came here waiting for you Monday." Derek had skipped going to the store on Monday. He'd had homework. He'd thought, "I'll go Friday instead." That decision would haunt him forever. After that moment, Derek left the store in tears. The street seemed darker, the wind colder. The walk home was the longest of his life. When he arrived home, Derek went straight to his room and closed the door. He sat on his bed in silence, trying to process everything. His mother knocked softly, asking if he was okay, but he couldn't answer. Not yet. He looked at his closet ... and opened the door. There they were, dozens of shopping bags with CDs he'd bought over the months. CDs still sealed, stacked carefully. He'd never opened any of them, because deep down what mattered wasn't the CD ... it was her. With trembling hands he grabbed one of the bags. He took out a CD, opened the packaging ... and, along with the disc, found a small folded note. The note, written in delicate handwriting, read, "Hi Derek, I don't really know how to tell you this, but I'm starting to really like you. I'd love to go out with you sometime, even just for coffee." Ingrid, tears fell before he even finished reading. Derek opened another bag ... another CD ... and another note. "You have great taste in music. Or maybe I'm just good at picking things you'll like. Either way, I love our conversations. You make my days better." Another one. "Today you wore that blue shirt. You looked really nice. I wanted to tell you but got nervous. Isn't that funny? I can face an illness, but I can't tell a boy he looks handsome." "Your friend at the record store." Another. "I've been feeling sicker lately. The doctors say I should rest more, but I don't want to miss our talks. You're the best part of my week. Maybe I'll get brave enough to tell you in person soon." Every package contained a message, a tender word, a subtle invitation, a hope carefully preserved. She loved him ... in silence, waiting for him to have the courage. And now ... these words were all that remained. Derek cried as he'd never cried before. He cried for not having said what he felt. He cried for every opportunity left for later. He cried for that pure love that bloomed in silence and departed before becoming reality. He opened every single CD that night. 23 in total, 23 messages. A chronicle of her feelings growing stronger even as her body grew weaker. The last note was dated the Monday before she died, the day Derek didn't visit. "I'm getting ready for work even though Mom says I should rest. I'm tired, but I need to see if Derek comes today. I've decided if he comes, I'm going to tell him everything. No more hiding. Life is too short to be afraid. Wish me luck." Ingrid. But Derek hadn't come that day, and by Friday, when he finally had the courage, it was too late. The following days were the darkest of Derek's life. The record store remained closed for 2 weeks. Sophia needed time to grieve, to make arrangements, to figure out what to do with her daughter's beloved shop. Derek attended Ingrid's funeral at Riverview Abbey in Portland. It was a small ceremony, family, close friends, a few regular customers from the store. Derek sat in the back, feeling like an intruder, though Sophia had specifically invited him. During the service, Sophia spoke about her daughter, about her love for music, her kindness, her courage in the face of illness. And then she mentioned Derek. "My daughter spent her last months looking forward to the visits from a young man she cared about deeply. She never got to tell him her feelings in person, but she found a way to leave him messages. Messages of hope, of love, of all the things she wished they could have shared." Everyone turned to look at Derek. He felt exposed, vulnerable, but also strangely honored. It mattered to her. In her final chapter, he'd brought her joy. After the service, several of Ingrid's friends approached him. They all said the same thing. She'd talked about him constantly. She'd been planning to finally tell him how she felt. She'd just been waiting for the right moment, a moment that never came. The weeks turned into months. Derek changed. His friends noticed it. His parents saw it. The experience had marked him deeply. He started listening to every CD Ingrid had sold him. Each album became a connection to her, a piece of her taste and personality. The music she'd loved became the music he loved. In every song he felt her presence. He began writing. Poetry at first, then short stories. All of them about second chances, about words left unsaid, about the fragility of time. His English teacher was amazed by the sudden depth in his work. "Derek, this is beautiful," Mrs. Patterson told him one day after class. "Have you considered submitting this to the school literary magazine?" He did. His piece, titled The Unopened Letters, won first place. It was about a boy who waited too long to tell someone how he felt. It was about Ingrid, though he never mentioned her by name. 6 months after Ingrid's death, Derek returned to the record store. Sophia had decided to keep it open. "It's what Ingrid would have wanted," she said. Derek walked in, and the bell chimed in ding just like that first time. Sophia looked up and smiled through her sadness. "Hi, Derek." "Hi, Mrs. Sophia. I wanted to ask you something." "Of course, dear. Could I work here? Part-time, after school. I don't need much money. I just ... I want to be around her things. Her music. I want to keep her memory alive." Sophia's eyes welled with tears. "Oh, Derek. She would have loved that. Yes, of course you can work here." And so Derek became a part of the place where his story with Ingrid had begun and ended before it truly started. Years later, Derek would tell this story with tears in his eyes and a smile on his face. Because some stories, even sad ones, are so intense they deserve to be remembered. Not as tragedies, but as life lessons. He became a writer. His first published book was dedicated to Ingrid, for the girl who taught me that tomorrow isn't promised, and words left unsaid become regrets that last forever. He never married. When people asked why, he'd simply say, "I already found my person. We just didn't get enough time." The record store still exists on Hawthorne Avenue in Portland. Derek eventually bought it from Sophia and runs it to this day. On the wall behind the counter hangs a photograph of Ingrid, smiling that smile that once made his heart race. Below it, a small plaque reads, "Ingrid Martinez, 2006 to 2023 music lover, gentle soul, and reminder that life is too precious to wait for perfect moments. Say what you feel. Love while you can. Tomorrow is never guaranteed." Every CD sold in that store now comes with a small card tucked inside Derek's idea. The card says simply, "If you love someone, tell them today. Don't wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is now." This message is brought to you by someone who waited too long and learned life's hardest lesson. Thousands of people have received those cards. Some have written back to thank him. Others have shared their own stories of love and loss. The record store has become more than a place to buy music. It's become a place of connection, of memory, of love. And Derek, he lives with the lesson Ingrid's death taught him. If you feel something, say it. If you love someone, show it. If you have the desire, live it, because tomorrow might be too late. If you've read this story to the end, I want to invite you to reflect on your own life. Who do you need to talk to? What feelings have you left unspoken? What dreams have you postponed? Write in the comments. What city and state are you reading this from? And tell me who in your life deserves to hear "I love you" today. Remember, the words you don't say today might become the tears you cry tomorrow. Don't wait for the perfect Friday. Perfect moments don't exist. There's only now. This story is dedicated to everyone who has ever waited too long, loved in silence, or learned the hard way that time doesn't wait for anyone. May we all find the courage to speak our hearts before it's too late.